Somali Bantu in the Civil War of Somalia. Somalia has undergone various civil wars in its history. Most civil wars have political underpinnings, as politicians usually spread hatred and animosity among the citizens to the point that a simple issue could result in a big fight. A good example is the American Civil War of 1861-1865, which arose due to the difference in opinions regarding slavery. Another case was in Kenya 2007-2008 when the citizens differed on the outcome of the 2007 election. Somalia's case was not any different. The war began as resistance against President Mohammed Siad Barre. With time, it grew more prominent and, thus, affected many people within the country. The war was supposed to be between two Cushitic subclans, Dared and Hawiye, but it ended up affecting the Bantus the most. It is noteworthy that tribal underpinnings often influence African countries' politics. For example, Mohammed Siad Barre, president of the Somali Democratic Republic between 1969 and 1991, fell into a similar trap. He was a member of the Cushitic group and belonged to the clan of Dared and Murdini. President Barre could be said to be among the worst dictators the world has seen. He massacred many people in the name of tribal affiliations. His general, Muhammad Farah Hassan Aidid, was also a Cushite just like him, but from the clan of Hawiye and Habar Gidir. The Dared and Hawiye clans are the two main powerful sub-clans in Somalia. Thus, President Barre's ascension to power was based on his tribal affiliation and not on his ability to lead the Somali people. Since Siad Barre lost the war with Ethiopia, one of his aims had been to seize the Bantu land for his people. Before Siad Barre, all other former presidents of Somalia were against the Somali Bantus, but they never tried to eliminate them from the country. Siad Barre was the first president who thought of seizing their land for his clan. And all other presidents after him have followed in his footsteps. First, Siad Barre divided the Somali Bantus and created disunity among them. After dividing the Bantus, Siad Barre started to resettle his subclans in southern Somalia, giving them full control over Bantu land. The Bantus were not in control of their own villages, towns, and cities, let alone the capital. The Somali Bantus controlled nothing in the country. Even in their own regions, everything was given over to the management of the Cushitic people, especially those from the presidential subclan. The southern region belonged to the Bantus, but Siad Barre wanted to acquire it for his people because the land was very fertile. His general, Farah Hassan Aidid, who was of the same Cushitic ethnicity but of the Hawiye sub-clan, began to notice the president's plans and wanted a share for his own sub-clan. But Siad Barre refused to share the land. When the general realized that the president didn't want to share with him in the deal, he started thinking about how he could take Siad Barre's position. This was how the division of Somalia started. Most politicians cling to power even when people do not like them. For example, President Barre began to make plans to retain power while he was still the president. He intended to turn Somalia into a monarchy, where a member of his sub-clan could inherit power after his death. His general requested that he replace him, but President Barre refused. Instead, he embarked on resettling his people among the Somali Bantus as a strategy to secure the Bantus fertile land for them. Meanwhile, General Aidid secretly trained the military to fight against President Barre. The president got to know about the ongoing training when it was too late to counter it. Therefore, he fled out of the country, telling his people to prepare for a civil war. Barre attempted to cling to power, although he lacked the support and goodwill of the Somalis. Initially, the war seemed to be between two clans. The president's clan members fled from their homes and hid in the Bantus area because they were not prepared for war. The Hawiye clan was ready, and it started pursuing the Dared clan. Eventually, it discovered that the members of the Dared clan were hiding in the Bantus area. The Hawiye clan went to the southern region and massacred the members of the Dared clan. It also committed other atrocities. For instance, the Hawiye clan members repeatedly assaulted the Dared women in daylight in front of the Somali Bantus. The Dared clan members ran, but they had nowhere to hide from their rivals. The Somali Bantus did not engage in the war at the time, and the Dared clan collected all their guns. However, they forgot to retain some of the guns for their defense against attacks. Thus, it seemed like a war between the Dared and the Hawiye. As the civil war between the Hawiye and the Dared clans escalated, The Bantus were accused by the Hawiye of being accomplices of the Darid. Thus, they mercilessly massacred them. They assaulted the Bantu women just as they had done with the Darid women. While the Hawiye clan were busy with the Bantus, the Darid clan regrouped themselves and returned for their revenge. The Darid clan started attacking the Hawiye clan until they ran back to Mogadishu. After the Hawiye retreated to the capital, the Darid clan members continued fighting the Bantus, who were defenseless at the time. They accused them of failing to assist in fighting against the Hawiye clan. As the war continued, many Somali Bantus lost their lives since they were on the receiving end in the long run. Thus, the Somali Civil War was supposed to be a war between the Hawiye and the Darid clans. Still, the Somali Bantus ended up suffering the most compared to Somali Cushitic ethnic groups. The aftermath of the conflict was extremely brutal. Through the war, the Bantus underwent severe suffering, a violation and abuse of human rights at the hands of the Hawiye and Darid clans. The genesis of the war was the power struggle between President Mohammed Siad Barre and General Mohammed Farah Hassan Aidid. The general wanted to dislodge the president from power, but the latter refused to leave the office. Therefore, their respective subclans turned against each other. Somali Bantus only got involved due to their perceived association with both clans, each accusing them of being an accomplice to the other.